everybody had a good lunch? We did an experiment on Kurt during lunchtime, and I thought I'd like to share the experiment with all of you. The use of microcrystals is little tiny crystals in here, and we put an oil on it, and we checked Kurt from a reflexology standpoint with this young lady back here. She put both the essential oil and the thought forms of what she wanted to do to improve Kurt. She treated him, and he looks like a new man now. I hope.
We congratulate you.
Yes, let us congratulate him. I'd like to do one important bit of meditation with all of you. Would you come forward and tell us about this young girl who is quite ill? My dear.
Ringede, og det handlede om, at deres lille datter på 6 uger skulle opereres, og hun havde forstyrrelse af hjertet, de vidste ikke, hvad det var. Nu har jeg hørt her til morgen, at det er meget alvorligt med hende. Marcel Vogel mener, at vi kan gøre noget for hende, hvis vi tilsammen laver meditation på det, og faren vil så ringe i aften og fortælle os, hvordan det går. Så det kunne blive meget smukt, hvis vi skulle gøre det sammen.
Har du et pulsvand?
Ja.
Har du et pulsvand?
Jeg har set det.
Ja, hun blev opereret, så skal hun opereret.
Hun er formentlig ved at blive opereret.
So, what I'd like to do is let us do a meditation for this young girl now. Bring each of your crystals out. I'm going to use a large crystal. Pardon? Now, I want you, dear, take a deep breath, look at the crystal, and visualize the girl with your mind, and project her thought into here. Release your breath. Now, breathe in again. And go with your mind now to her as she is and look at what we can do to help her now. And release your breath into it. Now, all of you with the crystals in your hand, focus on the one I have here. Let us breathe together. In, out. Breathe in. Go into your crystal with the outward breath. Breathe in again. And release yourself through the crystal into the crystal in my hand. Good. Now, let us all breathe as one body. Breathe in. Let us focus the love in our heart for this young girl. Project the thought of well-being breathe in. Feel the thought of love again, that she will be healthy and well, and release. all now say a prayer in our own way for this girl. And let our breath out slowly. Breathe in and out. Exhale. I think many of you know this young lady, don't you? You should. Who feels they need a bit of help? Why don't we use you? Why don't you come forward? I'd like to have you put this crystal down. Check her body now with reflexology and see what you can find. Describe what you find.
A block in the brain.
Brain?
In the brain.
Right.
And difficulties in the sound.
Right.
Intestines.
Small intestines.
Small intestines.
Big and large intestines. Small and large. Small, yes. And then stomach, brain, liver.
Take the crystal in your hand now. No, hold it like this. Breathe in. Project the knowledge you have now from her, that's good, into the crystal with the releasing of breath. Notice a moment ago I cleared it. Now draw your breath in. Create a strong feel and pulse your breath. As you're locking the patterns in. Now, draw your breath in again. Create in your mind now for each organ in her body the corrective treatment that need to be given. You see it? Now pulse your breath into it. Now, watch. Come over. Hold the crystal in your right hand. Put your other hand back here. Now breathe in.
Can't see.
Now better, Ava? Could you take that out? Breathe in, you hold your breath. Now hold your breath until you get contact. There it is. Let your breath out. Now breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now breathe in deeply. Focus on the difficulties in her body. You focus on it, my dear, now, and release. Let them out. Breathe in. Inject pulse breath, the treatment for the body, and its balancing. Now test it.
Vil du gå tilbage til sidst for en time siden? Hej.
It's 1 hour before.
What?
She's asking for 1 hour before.
Yes.
Men jeg forventede det. Jeg synes, du forventede, at jeg skulle være svag, så ligesom jeg ville.
Ja, okay, det var rigtigt. For en time siden.
Ja. Du trykker højt. Ja. Ja, den er ikke så god. Nej.
Sæt nu. Højt.
Wow.
Jeg ved ikke, hvor vi kan se det.
I said 1 hour ago.
Yes.
Now.
No, big difference.
Jeg så simpelthen i aften.
Does it work?
Yeah. Really?
You see?
Yes. I saw a strange figure when she.
Oh, pardon me, is this crystal?
I asked you.
Let's find out. Watch. Test her again.
Yeah.
Just a one. Watch. Now test her.
Wait.
Watch. Wait. Test her again.
Strong.
Thought forms are still locked into this object or crystal. So if you were to put this back and wear it, everything in here, you'd be right back to ground zero. You would not have gotten any benefit. You see? Now what do you do?
Clean
How do you clean it?
like this.
Go ahead. That way, and this. Pulse your breath on it. There you have cleaning. No? Both ways. That's
Like
good.
this?
Like that. Pulse your breath with that. You have cleaning. Rotate it again. Pulse. Now let's test you.
What are you doing?
Here. I was just holding it right here.
And it worked.
No problem now. It's clear.
So it's crystal. It's crystal.
Thank you, dear. Please, please, please. Anytime you have treatment, anytime you go to doctor, therapist, people like this, clear your crystals when you finish. If you don't, you re-implant the whole program before you went in. So all of the value of a therapist is wiped out. You just saw that. Yes.
Is it as good to use water to...
Water has no effect.
It has
Nothing.
No effect?
Zero.
Yeah.
Nothing. All of this ritual that you read about tonight has no value except your intention.
Well, but when you're cleaning it,
That's
you have the intention.
that does the thing.
That doesn't
That's
change.
what does it.
I see.
It's the intention.
Well, anyway, the ritual, yeah, I understand you. Yeah.
Please.
It's the belief, what you, yeah.
It's your intention that clears it. It's not the water.
Yeah.
You just saw it happen here.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Can this observe when I work with patients?
Sure.
Could this observe their weakness or?
Of course it will. You
I
should
never-
clean it. When you take it off at nighttime, clear it,
I
and it's
never
clear.
take it off, I never clear it.
You should clear it. Then
And it's easier not to use it, to wear it.
well,
But it's good that it,
it's good there. It's taken it, but just a second, like that, and it's clear.
And also my watch and things.
Watch is not too bad. Yeah?
The point is, then in actual fact, you do not need the pulsing, but the pulsing fortifies your intention or what?
Yes. What the breath does, it carries a pattern of thought out from the body and precipitates it into the form, whatever the object is, the crystal or the person, just like that. It's a convulsive motion, it just moves it out.
But is that not again a programming that is programming of myself or?
It is part of, it is a programming, it is a convenient means of release.
I see the point. So in fact, is that whatever you choose to do, whether it be pulsing or
That's right.
coughing or whatever, you know, it's.
Whatever's convenient.
I see.
I'll come to you right away. Reading the Bible carefully, you find again and again, before Christ treated a person, he breathed on them.
pardon, could you repeat?
Breathe. Let his breath out. He, I believe, pulsed his breath, but it's the act of breathing out. What was he doing? He was putting his intention, his program into that person. The healing took place with breath. Through breath, you heal. It's a key. Any difficulty? Yes?
I had a question regarding larger crystals which you can't hold in your hand. How do we clear them? In one hand, I mean.
All right, this one, you have great big ones. Hold your hand this way, both sides. Just pulse.
And then
The other
on
side,
on
clear the other.
That
The
could be done.
crystals this big, just hold them this way.
That can be done to objects as well.
Oh, sure.
What about rocks?
Rocks, which are normally non-crystalline, do not hold a charge, but microcrystalline pieces there will hold a charge. When you have very large objects, like a rock, buy yourself a demagnetizer, just go over the surface and you clear it. These fields are subject to release by bulk magnetic erasers. You just pass it over there and it's clear. See, with you treating patients, you clear that every day, you've gotten all the garbage out.
I'm just thinking that perhaps this helps to protect me.
It is a
to
protection,
absorb,
sure,
And then
and clear it.
I should clear it.
That's clear at
Because I
nighttime
clear
and you're
myself.
free. And you'll feel a lot happier, a lot stronger.
Yeah.
A lot
I
of-
don't have any problems, but I was weak, I can see now.
That's right. How does your body feel now? Does it feel better?
Let me feel my body. Yeah. I can't feel a great change, but I feel well.
That's what, you couldn't ask for more.
No, that's
You're-
true.
When you feel well, what more do you want?
No, that's true.
Now, what I just showed is the whole principle. I'm going to wait till somebody gets finished over here. All right. The reality of the treatment is not going through the ritual or this or that, but it's a release of these thought forms which you can store and transfer. The more your knowledge, the more technically skilled you are, the more precise your treatment can become. Now I go from this to a microcrystal here, which is this small one, And I go from this to even a mini microcrystal, which are here, that you can put right onto acupuncture points. You can take now and program this crystal for a specific area of the body you want treated. For example, a person's liver is malfunctioning. Program this that it will accelerate the normal functioning of the liver. You tape it over the liver meridian and see what happens. You'd be surprised. The liver comes back to normal because you have the program on the surface which is feeding back to accelerate the activity of that liver, and it starts functioning. This opens up really new medicine, really new forms of therapy. You're dealing with etheric medicine, yes.
I was wondering if you give the liver of a patient a treatment
Right.
with a crystal, will it then be necessary or advisable also to put a microcrystal over?
In the case like a liver, which is such a complicated and vital organ, a treatment with a crystal can remove the initial blocks. In other words, a root, the source which was causing the discomfort or disorder. But to continue the vital activity of that organ, the liver, you've got to put a pacemaker in. What these can act now is micro pacemakers. You get the point?
Yes.
So that sets a program into being, and now you can tape it onto the skin with Scotch tape, and now you can determine the timing required, how long this should be in place. So then you can do length of treatment, from say 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 5 hours. You can't be treating a person for 5 hours, but this could treat for 5 hours. Then you take it off and that treatment is done. Somebody had a question here?
Yeah, you determine the length. How would you determine the length?
Go ahead, you could say.
Altså, vi testede det, og behandlede fuld kinesiologi, hvor lang tid
Nej. Nå, altså simpelthen ved spørgsmål. I see, all right, all right.
Or I can use it. I just put a cross on a piece of paper with a pendulum. I said, how long should this be treated? And then I just have a number from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
And I just point like that. As soon as I get to the right number, it'll swing. So then that would be it.
Yeah. Right.
We're talking new medicine. And you're pioneering in this type of medical therapeutics. I'm right in the throes now of writing a book, and I must be finished by September. Next year it will be out in print. The title of the book will be Crystal Therapeutics. The publisher, my wife, I think, was correcting me. I said Doubleday. Isn't that correct here? Or
Right, it's not double day. And I can't think of the name.
okay, then I have to put it aside. My poor brain is getting tired from all of this traveling, so there are mental lapses that I'm having right now. There is, yes?
You are talking about etheric blocks or
Yes.
etheric malfunction. Can you also work in the astral aura with this?
Absolutely. It is vitally useful in the
Yeah.
astral and above all the
The mental.
emotional and mental body.
I mean the emotional.
Emotional
And
body.
when I say astral, I mean
Yeah, and it's this type of a device that's very good. This again is from quartz. And you deal with the triad, the body, the mind, and the spirit, the triad. And each, there are a series of triangles, 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles. And you implant, if you are a therapist, the program you want that person to have in their body. So if they have emotional depression, poor self-image, you go through the therapy for the correction so that they can begin to see themselves. You hold this in your hand as you are doing that. You follow? And then you project into this the image that they can now see themselves clearly and can accept themselves as they are. And then they would wear it.
But I would not be able to use the other crystal.
You can try that too. But what this would do, you see, you would wear it here on the thymus gland. And that builds a very strong field around the person. Now, I'm giving you different modalities of treatment. It's you make then, by trial and error, the decision what works best for that person and not the other. You can take and just take any of the essences, you can put them into this so you can make a composite of treatment. With Kurt, he was treated with this and another woman there, and she made an analysis of Kurt. She held this in her hand, focused on what needed to be done to correct him. We put it right here to the heart region, and immediately his body became normal. You remember?
But I didn't wear it.
No, he didn't wear it, so... No, but we tried it again and again. I took it away, his body went down, we put it on here, it held the program, he showed the effects on his body of this program in here.
Then could you use a normal crystal with a little, just a
You mean
crystal?
a natural crystal?
Like you have Brisa in your ear? Yeah.
A little last one.
Yeah.
It is natural, yes.
Yeah.
You can try them. I don't know. We will try them later on and we'll see.
Yeah. I've been making some experiments too about in glasses, some small crystals, for example, programming them as positivism,
Yes.
for example. And I felt some days it was okay, but then maybe you need to program it again, or
With a crystal properly made, one program once, it holds. It does not clear. It does not fade.
Yeah, but maybe it has something to say where it stands if it's in a glass and.
No, I don't think so.
nothing?
No.
Mm.
No, because if you wear it, it's then locked into your field and you hold that program.
Yeah.
Okay, now these are some
Marcel,
of the...
in connection with that, I'd like to just ask one more question. Does very often the clients that come to one, they have the problem of a lot of negative programming. They lock into a lot of negative thought forms. Wouldn't you say that might dissipate the energy, so you would have to reprogram often? Because I can visualize a client having this crystal and saying, okay, my therapist said that, it would be so and so, but then infusing doubt about this into the crystal.
They neutralize it.
Yeah,
So that they would have to come back.
yeah, I see. All right.
Because,
Yeah.
because it is a vital link. Vital means it will take both positive as well as negative.
Yeah.
A negative pattern of thought neutralizes a life energy. It weakens you, it devitalizes your field. Because, I'm quoting now from Lashowski, who wrote this wonderful book I have here. Well, it is here someplace. But he says, he's the father of multi-wave oscillators. Every living being emits radiation. Every living object emits light. or nucleus of our cell may be compared to an electrical oscillating circuit. The living cell can play the part of a transmitter or receiver of exceedingly short radioelectric waves, which give off and give rise to high frequency currents in the circuit of the cellular nucleus. The vibration of an oscillating circuit is maintained by radiated energy. Lashowski demonstrated that cellular oscillation of living organisms is maintained by cosmic radiation. This is an important statement. I'll repeat. From the experiments of Lashowski, he demonstrated that cellular oscillation of living organisms is maintained by cosmic radiation. And Lashowski states that disease results from an oscillatory disequilibrium due to a deficiency or excess of cellular radiation. So, the nucleus of the cell is emitting radiation. This is an experimental fact now. From the work of Pop, the Russians, the other people around the world in their work on biological cellular radiation. The deeper work, and I just finished a paper on this, is on biological superconductivity. Now that means the light that is being emitted from the nucleus triggers or initiates a release of electrons from the cellular membranes at the temperature of our body. These electrons are cold electrons. It is exactly as if our body were near absolute zero, but yet we're producing these electron flow because it is not connected with a thermal energy. It is an energy exchange which is cosmic. It transcends heat. It transcends thermal oscillation. And it is an energy transfer which goes on at an efficiency rate that is beyond anything that we have in our present calculations on thermal equilibrium or any of these other dynamics. I believe, or I have to underline this as well, the equilibrium condition in our body, the state of health and well-being, comes from the structuring of the water in our body. So it forms then a energetic pump between a non-equilibrium state or an amorphous state and a structured state. When the water goes from unstructured to structured, it takes on a form. It takes on a geometric pattern. This geometric pattern holds information. Informational codes, the patterns of mind, the patterns of thought, the patterns of the geological forces around us. And when these patterns come into the cellular membranes that are in our body, these patterns then decode and allow then the oscillations of the light to come out in certain types of code instead of everything pouring out. Pop, in personal conversation with me, and in a paper, a reprint that he gave me, stated that cancer cell, a malignant cell, has a greater volume of water than normal cells. When you look at a cancer cell under a microscope, the nucleus is expanded. It is it's a much larger nucleus. I've looked at many. There is a larger amount of light, biophotons, coming out from that cell. That cancer cell does not want to die. There is an energetic drive in a cancer cell that wants to keep going eternally, compared to all the other organizational cells that are in and around it. So it will continue to divide, multiply, divide, and multiply, where all the other cells surrounding it have gone through their life cycle and have gone. But those that are malignant have lost that capacity of being sensitive, meaning that they will not accept the organizational structure that is surrounding it. Lashowski did a remarkably simple thing. He infected plants and created cancer in plants. So that you had the large malignant growths in plants. He did a very simple treatment. He put a copper coil around the plant, grounded it into the soil, and within months, all that malignancy faded away and the plant became normal. What he did was to take the excess energy that the plant was creating and ground it. I'm quoting now, again from Lashowski. In plants, the nature of the soil is vital to maintain the equilibrium of the plant. A reinforcement of cosmic rays takes place in soils which are good conductors of electricity, such as clay, iron-containing materials, or carbon-containing soils. If you have too much cosmic rays, you then start building an abnormal structure in a plant. So we, in turn, and what Lashowski found in humans, he made what is called a multi-wave oscillator, MWO. It's a series of wires into a coil form, which he put a Tesla coil, high voltage field, and creates a oscillating field. And what that field is, when you sit in front of it, does, it breaks up the fixated patterns that we've gotten locked into our body, releases them, and the body is free to lockstep together and comes back to normal. He's treated cancer, he's treated all forms of disease. And you know, his work is forgotten. It's the way it is with so much of the fundamental work done by these pioneers. I'm very carefully recognizing him in the book I am writing. But I just wanted to give this to you. You're welcome to copy this notes, if people would want them. We keep ourselves either healthy or ill by maintaining a vital energy flow in and around our body. The purpose of a crystal is to reestablish this balance. Now, in considering a crystal like this for therapy or healing, I had to realize that there were areas in our body that we stored information independent of the brain. And that was struck home to me when I damaged my leg by being knocked into a jacuzzi, outdoor jacuzzi. I was bending down to go into the pool, and suddenly my legs were knocked out from me, and I was up in the air and into the water. About 4 days later, the left leg started to go, and my leg was going dead and becoming dysfunctional. I went to a chiropractor, and he worked on my leg with no success. We did that for 2 days. I woke the second day, and I heard a voice speak. And the voice said, "Records are written in bone. Records are written in bone." So, I gave Dr. Ward Lamb my crystal. I had him focus on the leg, between the knee and the ankle. He held the crystal pointed at there, and I drew my breath in. I went back to the events that took place, and I played it frame by frame, like a stop frame. You know, as you do a motion picture, and I just looked at it frame at a time. And suddenly I saw my feet go up, and then I saw this left leg hit the first step below the water, because there were steps that you walk into the jacuzzi. There was no bruise of the skin, except I had internally damaged and imprinted the bone in my body with a program. As soon as my mind could attach through the crystal into the bone, out came the image. And when it did that, it was an excruciating pain in that area in my body. Once I could experience that pain, I then could release the thought form. The pain left, and now the muscle damage and the bruising that was locked in, which was almost paralyzing my leg, the doctor could adjust. Within one adjustment is okay. I got off from the table. I was fine. I had no longer any trouble. From almost paralysis to walking, totally fit. But the key, please, the key was I had to reconstruct the thought form. And that came with Dr. Lamb focusing on that area, by going with my mind into the crystal, into the area, and then suddenly out came the image, and I could see it. Then when I released it, the pain went, and I was okay. Records are written in bone. Now, from that experience, which was personal, I've gone to treating almost 100 people from automobile accidents. The shock the violent blow imprints to those bony structures in that accident a information. The entire pattern of that accident is like a hologram. Any fragment that is not cleared is addressing the whole, and so one holds that whole imprint in one's body. To clear that, one goes into the thymus gland. One has a person go with memory back to the moment of the accident. You have them visualize the accident and then tell them to clear it. Tell them to erase it, get it out of the system. You literally shout, I will demonstrate this to you in a few moments. When you clear that this way, body will shake and every bony structure will be released and cleared from the accident impact. Even no matter how long the accident has been. Once that is released, the traumatic conditions, the struggle a body is going through, will suddenly will have it gone, it will straighten out and become a normal body. Now that's one of the more practical, dramatic things I've found with the therapeutic use of crystals, is to remove the imprinting from accidents of injury. Yes.
How would you release phantom pains?
Phantom what?
Pains.
From a limb that has been cut off?
Yes.
Very easily. You have the person go to the moment of surgery, if it was surgically removed, and experience the limb being removed surgically. And when you do that, you literally pull the phantom pain away and the phantom limb is gone as well.
I didn't understand that.
All right. Why don't you come here? Yeah. Put it down, yeah. Say you have lost your limb here from here on down. Automobile accident, this was just torn off. So you no longer have a limb here. But you suffer the feeling of always here. You have the pain of continually hurting and feeling that way. If an automobile accident, or put it on down, you go into here, you create the image of the accident by asking the person to create the image. You then would go with the crystal like this to lock into that image, because you're building up a pattern here in space. Then you have them breathe in. Now I'm just going to go through it just in demonstration. You breathe in now. You breathe in deep. Close your eyes and you hold the image of the image. Now I'm holding, locking onto it. Watch the steps now. Then I will tell you to release. Close my hand here. I come out, break it, and I go here, and then you go down. That's it. Yeah, you can feel it. All right.
Yeah, I was thinking of another accident.
You have?
This morning when you, yeah, I got so scared in my heart because you woke me up.
Right. Did you have an accident?
When I was sleeping inside that room.
Yes.
And Ellen thought that I was snoring too much. Yeah. So she wanted to push me.
Oh yeah.
And I woke up seeing her. I was so frightened because I came from. So my heart, I couldn't sleep afterwards. And at last, I didn't know how to get it out.
All right. Did
So
you release it?
I released it I think not all, but a little bit like by laughing.
Laughing.
Yeah,
All right.
that came to me, so I laughed.
Let's just take it all out now. This is a good example.
Yeah, because I was really
Frightened.
frightened. Yeah.
We'll just take out the thought form and watch the effect on your body. Set over here. Now I'm going to go in. Now see, I'm not dealing with an injury, I'm dealing with a pattern of thought. So I bypassed a lot of the preliminaries I normally talk about. We go directly in now and go in. There it is. You feel the energy now?
Yeah.
Now breathe in and out. Yeah, she's building up now. Breathe in and out. And feel the difference in your body now. It's calming down. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Go to that moment where you were suddenly awakened. You had this fear. Visualize it now and release it. There it is. See? Out, 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 out. The whole body's perspiring. Release, release. Now slowly when you're ready, breathe in and come on up. Now come back here and out. Now bring your body into balance and out. There she comes. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. That's done. You see? Something as innocuous as this, how deep that impression was. And that would have persisted in you. The secondary effect of that will be, it'll come down with headaches, you'll come down with stomach pains, you'll come down with indigestion, inability, to eat your food, and you'll have no way of tracing it. Then you will go to the doctor, he will give you a prescription, but it was due to just the fact you were prematurely awakened.
Thank you.
Release, charge, the crystal's working. Don't lose your baby. Any
It doesn't
questions?
only have to be an accident, it can be a terrible experience.
Nightmare is a bad one. Nightmares are very, very important.
There.
Yes, because people will suddenly awake from a nightmare, and they will imprint into their subconscious mind from the violent experience, and they can't connect it. You see what I mean by can't connect? There's no logical pattern to it. So now you struggle with that nightmare. Now I'll give you one even more difficult. There are forces that are stored in the earth. There are forces that are imprinted into the rock and soil that are the product of violent actions. Murder, warfare. If you're sleeping over a big area where there has been many, many people killed or there was warfare, and you're sensitive and you go to sleep there, your subtle body expands and you take in these vibrations, and then suddenly you'll experience them in your body. Then when you awake, you're very, very tired. You don't know why. And you don't know how to clear yourself. It gives you depression, gives you emotional discomfort, tremendous. A young girl in Canada, Balmoral, Canada, with her son, 5-year-old son, slept over a ley line, moving body of water. She was rejected by her Sivananda community. She was a very, very fine herbalist. And they kind of pushed her aside a bit. She went into depression. In that depressed state, she went to sleep and was taken over by the forces that were contained in the soil there. She went into hysterical screaming, into a emotionally unstable state. Normally we consider these paranoia. Her son, this wonderful young man, came to me, only 5 years old, said, "My mommy is sick. Can you help me? Can you help her rather?" I said, "Do you want me to?" And I said, "Yes. But I must have your help as well." This little 5-year-old. So he took me back to his mother, and she was lying in a sleeping bag, just shaking, not in control over her faculties. And I asked her, "Do you want to be well or healed?" She said, "Please, I need help." So I had the little boy hold his mother's hand, and I told him to pray. And I had to work on her for 1 hour, trying to release these forces out of her body. I'd get them up to a certain point, and I'd try to release them, and they'd just flow back in again, until my energy started to ebb. I had another healer working, holding my back. I finally got the strength up, and I was able to break the field and to just pour it out of her like somebody pulling a plug, you know, and then it just oozes out, and then she was free. It's just like a big fluid log jam. And when she was released, she was normal. I walked away and said a prayer of thanks, and then this little boy came to me, and I will never forget this. He said, "Thank you very much. You helped my mommy." And he had this little tiny Buddha around his neck, carved out of coral and gold. And he took it off from his neck and said, "I want you to have this." It was his most prized possession, and I still have it in our showcase. But he recognized what was done. He identified that his mother needed really serious help, and he did. They were fine. She was perfectly okay after this. But you see, when you go into what you call depression, you're weakening your vital energy body, and then you become subject to these forces. These vibrations exist all around us, and normally they don't affect us because we keep a vital field going around us. But we let it weaken for a moment, and suddenly we become vulnerable. Okay,
You
does
use
that...
the crystal?
What?
You use the crystal?
Oh, I use it constantly.
Yeah. At that experience?
With her too, yes, because I would take the energy and I'd bring it up, and I'd try to take it out, but I'd bring it up to a point and it would just flow back again. I just work it up again, try to push it out, and finally I caught it at the right moment and it was gone.
Yeah.
I know of nothing else that could take it out. Yes?
If somebody comes with a totally depression, then you ask when did it start? What situation started the whole thing? Do you ask for that?
Yes, of course. You want to get always to a root.
Yes.
Any treatment of this type, you don't want to treat a symptom. You don't want to treat depression. You don't want to treat a shaking of the limbs. You want to get to the source. What started the flame? What was the match that started this thing going? you want the match. And once you can take the match away, the flame goes out. Then the healing starts in. Now, the primary stabilizing force that we have on this planetary system we are in is the sun. The sun emits light. We have the light coming from the sun right now, illuminating our room, and above all, giving us the warmth, the physical light to see by, and the stabilizing power that light can give us. But in back and together with light from the sun comes an energy, an etheric force. It's an energy that is not light. It's an energy that is much more penetrating than light, because this energy goes through what we call matter. These cosmic forces were studied by Baron von Reichenbach back in 1855. He used the eyes of sensitives to see these forces. A crystal, the crystal like this, is taking the cosmic forces, consolidating it, and the energies are pouring out from the crystal on each end. It has a polarity to it, and this polarity will give it a power or impetus. A crystal cut in this way, this type of angle here, and the angle in this way, has no magnetic activity. But when you take a substance like graphite, carbon, like in a lead pencil, and you balance it with a thread, you can, with this tip, as you focus on it, cause it to swing away like it were magnetized. This tip here will cause graphite to push away from the crystal. When you reverse it and bring it to the graphite, it will be pulled like it was a magnet. Those of you who have your crystal, get a lead pencil, cut out the graphite, cut the wood away so you just have the graphite about 1.5 inches long, and then balance it in the middle with a very fine thread. Put it in an area where there is no air around. Then just try the crystal, holding it this way and pointing it at it. Now, hold it with facing the graphite without breathing. Now breathe in, and suddenly it'll be pulled towards the crystal, and breathe out, and you see it move out. So your breath, as you move in and out with breath, is creating a charge passing through your hands into the crystal, which now has a magnetic, attractive, and repulsive activity. This is the beginning of the formation of matter, the prelude to matter itself coming into being. The ethers are subjects which were studied in the Middle Ages. The ethers were studied by the early alchemists. the ether was a recognized element in the material world. And just now are we beginning again in the field of science to recognize or even accept the etheric forces. The remarkable thing about etheric forces is that it is not limited by dimension. You can occupy an enormous volume of energy inside of this. It does not produce pressure. As you were to take water and you fill it into a vessel like that, there is a pressure because the water is there, and so many cc's of water exert so many foot-pounds of pressure onto the vessel. Etheric forces don't do that. We're a whole area of knowledge and discovery that we have to make on this. The prime mover that these forces do is on water. And its anomalous nature of water is still a struggle in most scientific circles. We've collected probably 40 or 50 volumes on water itself. And the deeper we study, the more confounding the nature of water is. So simple. One atom of oxygen and 2 atoms of hydrogen. But what water will do is amazing. A healer by the name of Warr took a glass of water in her hand, just this way, held it this way, and breathed in and out. And the water sample was retained with a control sample. The control sample and the water treated by Warr was studied by me. What I did was to take a drop of that water, put it on a glass slide, and freeze it with liquid nitrogen, the 2 samples. The sample treated by Warr went from the ice state, the frozen state from liquid nitrogen, into a liquid crystal state at minus 40 degrees C. There was a depression in the freezing point of that water. It was depressed. The control sample went right up to 0 and then went from frozen to melt, to the normal water. But here was a complete interval from minus 40 to 0 of a highly birefringent fluid. I could touch it with a probe and it would move around. It would show me the very high optical activity of liquid crystals. So that water had an internal structure into it, uniquely different than the other control sample of water, just from her putting her hands around the water. Same thing we do when we take the water and we spin it around a crystal with a thought form in it. Holy water is a water that is structured, because it has been blessed by the hands of a priest. This blessing changes the chemistry of that water. Now we take another big leap. I'll show it to you tomorrow. You take a drop of water and put it into a camera, a thought photography camera. made by George Delaware. And you photograph that water that has been blessed by the hands of a priest. And you will find a cross imprinted in that water. Against the control of the water, you will see nothing. So there is a geometric pattern in a blessed water, which can be identified in the water. You can see these pictures in the book called New Worlds Beyond the Atom by Langston Day. I saw these pictures myself in England. I now have that camera in our laboratory, and we're working with that camera to do experimental work in thought photography. I don't want to overburden you with a lot of phenomena, because that doesn't help one. One just gets tired of a lot of unusual things. I'm trying to give you facts, technical, experimental facts as best I know them. Now, I'd like now to show you some diagrams. So we'll set up the overhead projector. Would you help me on that, Kurt?
They asked for a break. Is that okay?
It would be wonderful. Yes. Love a break, yes. We all take a break. I think there's coffee outside or tea.
We need some oxygen.
I know. So she called order, so we had to get Boy, she keeping me in mind this month. All right.
It must take something to keep you in line.
So yes, it does take a bit much. She does her best, and it's wonderful because. What?
We don't have to write that down.
What I want to show you for a moment with a few slides, and then we'll go to the rest of the afternoon in working with one another on the preliminary steps in helping in healing and in therapeutic practice. Kurt was prodding me on the rear end and said, hey, we want more practice. So, all right, I'll give you more practice. But here is an example of the result on my body of just taking a crystal, putting it in my hand, the same crystal that you see here, measuring the electrical activities of the acupuncture points with a Murayama AMI machine, which means that they electrode the acupuncture points here on each of my fingers, also my toes. There are 10, 20 electrodes that go into a computer. The data is analyzed and you get a printout and you get this type of reading. When I drew my breath in, focused onto a person and pulsed my breath like this, here are the results. Now, this is control, which means nothing in my hand. This is the crystal in my hand, and this is the crystal in healing. Notice here, this is the lung meridian, large intestine, heart, constrictor, and diaphragm. Yes, thank you. And all right, now we're going to look at this is only the polarization, and that measures the charge, which is really called Li over Ri. we'll look at the numbers. Control was 1223. The crystal in my hand is exactly the same, 1223. And now, when I pulse with the crystal in my hand for healing, it drops down to 182. So the major energy coming from my body comes from the lungs. What are the lungs? Breath. And this is where I've gotten my teaching on the statements I have made to you. The energy in the healing process is through the breath. Large intestine. Again, there is an increase when I put the crystal in my hand from 1011 to 1076. And then when I treat, it goes down. You'd never expect that, but there is an energy in the intestine. The heart constrictor, look at the change here, from 964 to 1144, just putting a crystal in my hand. And then when I treat, it goes right back to this again, 958 to 944. So just taking a crystal, putting it in the hand, will accumulate a charge, and you can see it here, and you can see its release.
What is normal?
Pardon?
What is normal? Which numbers is normal?
Well, the normal here.
Yeah?
Yeah, because that's the, with nothing, no crystal, nothing, just standing in a relaxed way. But you see the change, it goes from here, goes up, just a crystal, and then when I do treatment, it comes back. Now you find something very interesting. We look at the heart per se. It goes 1011, 1050, 1098. The energy in the heart went up. I did not gain or lose anything in the heart region, but only in the heart constrictor. Triple heater, 1001, 1009, and then it dropped, 838, 839. So, what this says to me is, one, that when you work with a crystal, you're involving the entire bioenergetic field of the body. It involves you, your energies. Tomorrow I'll show you the brain activity of what goes on with a crystal. So it has a distinct effect on all aspects of the bioenergetic activity of you. In the work done in the past, it's too small, where they have taken they've experimented on people, on rats, by cutting wounds, and here is a set of wounds, and the dimensions of them here cut in the surface of the skin of rats. And here is a set for rats with Mr. Esteban, a healer, and this is a surface group which are going to be treated just by heating, applying thermal energy or heat. Because many people raise the argument that a healer is applying heat to a surface, therefore it is that which is doing it, is the healing. But now, after 14 days, the amount of healing of the wound was physically measured. And here is the effect. The control group, here's the difference from here to here. So you can compare the summation of these here against now what Mr. Esteban had. You can see a significant diminution of the wounds in Mr. Estevani's treatment of mice. And now the heated areas, you can see they're actually much worse than, they're almost the same as this. And this here now stands out. Kind of a cruel way of doing it, but it showed that with even an animal, on a remote basis, you can get a significant variation with the act of a healer. I met the man, Mr. Estevani, in Canada. Very kind, gentle person. And he has worked with Dr. Bernard Grad. Grad is the one that's written this paper. And he worked on the modification of water after they put trypsin in, enzymes. And the enzymatic action can be modified by just putting your hands over water which has trypsin in it. And they have studied that extensively, Dr. Grad has. I'd like to give you now a few quotes, and we'll do more and more each day. Kurt, if you want to make this for the people, it would be good, because this kind of sums up from a talk I gave in '84 some of the thinking that I have. Number one, love is a force. The same as electromagnetism, light is a force. The force of love can be locked into the water molecule. There's that feeling, that power you can create within you can be locked into water. When you love, you create unity from diversity. You also polarize all factors, which means you structure them. Thus, you can see more clearly the parts of a person and their relationship to the whole. Loving a person opens your eyes to a clearer understanding of the whole person. You don't see parts, you don't see the individual, but you see the person as a whole. Number four, when you receive love from others, we fill up with energetic force that we all need, especially children, to maintain life. Love is a vital force to maintain life in our body. We must have life. And a person who is deprived of love has severe psychic, emotional problems and difficulties. When we withhold love, our life force declines and we experience sickness. If extreme, we die. I've encountered that. I can particularly have seen it with plants. You can withhold love from a plant, especially house plants, and they will die. I have said this again and again. Love is the total law. If you can love your fellow man, you have the total law. Because if you act lovingly, you do no harm. We must maintain our independence of thinking. When we deal with these type of phenomena, when we work in these modalities of forces that are at the limit of our understanding, we must be at all times discriminating, independent in our thinking. I am not trying to sell you on anything. I'm trying to present our information, what I've learned, I share with you, but you must discriminate. You must say, does that mean anything to me? If not, speak out, but test. I love the 8th one. God does not control people. People do. God controls no one. He allows us to be what we are. That is his greatest gift that he has given to man. Nature operates under specific laws. It is lockstep into patterns that are quite observable and measurable. But you and I are very difficult to measure. Very difficult. And that is why psychology and psychiatry is such a difficult modem of treatment. Because we're continually changing. We don't have a solid baseline of who a real person is. I know I've been, as I said, 27 years with IBM. Each month, rather each year, we had a yearly appraisal of your total contribution to the company, total rating that they try to give to you. They had kind of a problem with me because I kept changing all the time. But that's the joy of living for me. I come along for a while and I said, that's enough, let's take on something new. And so your image is gone. Now they said, who are you? They can't identify anymore. Yes, I'm supposed to be a chemist, so I act as a chemist. But then I became a microscopist because there was a need. I finished that work, then I went into solid-state physics. You can be whatever you want, as long as you keep your mind facile and open. Number 9, when you interfere with the free will of others, you strip them of their identity. And boy, is that important. Number 10, when you think, you create a field that knows no boundary, no limit to the space it occupies. It is without limit. Number 11, thought binds energy and then becomes a thing that has both tone and light in its field. You have an illuminating thought. You can bring the energy of mind together and create. I don't mean metaphor. This is not a metaphor. It is a truth. Light. You can project a thought into a film, and out will come a picture. Ted Sirius, others have done this. We'll continue more tomorrow. I think I've given you enough from a technical standpoint today. I'd like to now carry on in practice with you on the use of crystals. Now, why don't you come on up? Because you're here to learn how to use it. You have your crystal. No, hold it in your hand. Now, I'm going to be the patient. He is going to work on me. And I want you now to watch what he does, and let's score him.
Can man get anything wrong with the crystal?
You can get nothing. Nothing will happen.
Nothing will happen, and that's
But
not
very little you can do wrong. Except you get nothing. You get a blank, you know. So you have to start over again. Now, he is coming. I have a pain in my shoulder. Can you help me now? I hurt here. Yes, I can. All right. I bumped into a wall, and this pain hurts me terribly. All right, like that. You want to see? I'm going to put my crystal in there. He's going to work on my pain in my shoulder.
What did happen to you? How did you get into that?
I bumped into a wall.
You bumped into a wall.
Right.
Was it dark?
It was dark, and I was all excited, and I walked too fast, and suddenly, wham, I got hit.
You got scared?
I was scared too.
Yeah.
I hurt bad.
Okay, good try.
Would you do that?
Yeah, good. Yeah, God. That was this wonderful man. Thank you. Now, where exactly does it hurt?
It's right in here.
And it's your
Also, I have a pain
I think
here.
it's easy to
Kinda
see
deep.
if you turn around because your arm blocks all the way.
Oh.
No, that you stand.
I see. It's not. Oh, sorry.
There's a little pain right up here. And then this is kind of numb here. This kind of bothers me too.
Let's see. Well, we first try to balance your body. Okay. So now, I'm going into your auric field. Now I'm trying to find the angle where I knock into. I think it's here. Feel anything?
Yes, I can feel the field now. Yes.
Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now breathe in, be prepared to release.
Release!
I mean, that was an order.
Feel better?
What did I forget? You tell him. What did he forget? Yeah, I was waiting for him. I was trying to tell him mentally. Watch.
I forgot to breathe. Yes, thank you.
Let me just go through it step by step now. We're going through the preliminaries. When I finish here, watch. After talking to him about the need, and we've prayed
About the-
together,
the knee.
I draw my breath in, watch. I transfer the charge,
Yeah.
and I lock it in place here. Now, once I've transferred the charge, I hold my breath, take the hand off.
Ah, yeah.
Take the charge in here.
Yeah.
See, there's nothing idle. Now, I come here, watch my hands now. My feet are flat on the ground. I come in without breathing. I rotate without motion and hold. You feel that now?
Yeah.
You see? It's like a needle going in. Now his body is moving. And now my finger is tingling because the charge has gone from here to this side here. Now I let my breath out. And now I tell you to breathe in. Watch. And out. Now I breathe with him. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. feel it building up now? Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Now what am I waiting for? I'm watching the amplification of the field. Breathe in. And now he is ready because the field's going. Now I said breathe in. Look at. Focus on what you want to release from your body. Create a clear image of it. Lock into it now and release. You see? I didn't touch his body. Did it good?
Thank you.
Any questions? Now we'll pair up and we'll do it, each one to the other. You have a crystal?
Yes.
You're going to be the doctor and you're going to be the patient. Doctor, the patient, and then you reverse. You have a crystal? Good. You work with my wife. Yes, dear. You work in you.
There might be another heart.
Oh, no. He will be good for you. You two work together. You two. You don't have a crystal, so you can work on him. Yeah, big one. You two pair up here. And so let's stand up and we'll form groups and I'll come around and I'll work with you. One.
He's getting off. Okay.